did you make the emotional shift when you started renting an expensive apartment and you're like, man, if I added all this up after a year, that's close to a down payment on a nice house in the Midwest, or maybe I can buy a whole house in the Midwest, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you emotionally rationalize that where you're not frustrated like, oh gosh, I just spent 10 years throwing this money away? Because sometimes I feel that way. Sometimes like, man, I just spent a lot of money these last few years.
Well, let me ask you this.
But I like the freedom and the flexibility of not having to incur all those other
What do you like to eat? You like strawberries?
No.
Okay, what do you like to eat?
Some good steak and veggies.
Okay, steak. Well, when you buy a steak and you eat it, do you feel like you just threw your money away on that steak?
No, I enjoyed it.
But where is it? I don't see it. Where's my investment?
Right.
In fact, isn't it coming out in the toilet in a couple hours?
It is, yeah.
So what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
You get value out of a steak just like you get value out of renting. Now, if you want to incidentally build equity, that's great. But remember, you can also lose equity. Right now in Manhattan, do you know rents are down?
Is it?
Yes, and so are prices of houses if you want to buy. They're going down every month.
Wow.
A lot of people are like, oh my God, it's so expensive. Sometimes it goes down 5%, 10%. Some of these neighborhoods are down 15%.
No way.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't realize. In fact, I did a survey of my readers. I said, do you think it's possible for real estate to decrease? Over half of people said no. They had never even thought about it. So I want
Remember
people...
2008, 2009?
Memories are short. You would think they would remember, but they don't. I heard
Right.
people, dude, they had 3 houses. They bought it. They were destroyed financially. Their credit was ruined. They had to give up these houses and their identity as an investor. And 3 years later, they're like, I think I want to buy another couple of houses.
Wow.
It just goes to show, I'm not saying they're stupid. It's not that at all, because a lot of people have gone through this. It's the idea that the propaganda to buy a house or to follow a prescribed set of rules for the American dream is so powerful that even losing your own houses doesn't change people's perspective.
So how do you teach people to overcome the emotional rationalization of blowing their money on rent?
Okay. It's funny.
Besides that story you just told, which helps me.
I'll tell you what, I want to acknowledge that it's real because...
It's a fear that people live with.
Yeah, and I'll give you an example. Like I call it the handshake effect. And it's when people would come over to my apartment and for the first time and they would say, wow, this is an amazing view. And then they always say the same thing in New York. Do you own this place? And we're like shaking hands, right? It's like we just met.
How much you pay on this
Yeah, how much you
place?
pay? What? It's classic New York. And I say, no, I rent. And it's that moment where if I had said I bought, they would be like this. Wow, yeah, it's
pretty
really
impressive.
cool, really cool, yeah. And you kind of get this
pride,
pride.
yeah.
And then when I don't say that, they get really confused because this is the I will teach you to be rich guy, but also he rents, and I thought renting is for people who can't afford it, but they don't understand. And they give me this look, and I realized that so many of us are looking for somebody to approve of us while we are shaking their hand, someone we don't even know.
Wow.
And so instead of getting your approval from somebody you just met 10 minutes ago, or from your parents who probably are not the most sophisticated investors, if you're watching this show, you know you talk about greatness. And being great means choosing your own path. Sometimes you might choose to buy. I have no problem with that if you ran the numbers and you consciously decided. Sometimes it means you don't. But if you want to live the life of greatness, you need to be comfortable making different choices than what other people expect.